Hello, and welcome to another episode of my 30 plus decks. Today I'm going to be showing off one that I built kind of recently, but I also gave it some new cards from Edge of Eternities, mostly Void and Warp. This is Ayara, first of Locthwain. So she is black mana cost, so this is a mono black deck. She is a 2/3 elf noble. Whenever Ayara, first of Locthwain, or another black creature enters the battlefield under my control, each opponent loses 1 life, and I gain 1 life. I can tap her to sacrifice another black creature and draw a card. And effectively with this, as I mentioned, there are a number of cards that I added with Void. I think that the main one that I can think of that has Warp is the Timeline Color, I want to say, where you can cast him from Warp, or cast him for Warp from Graveyard. And I also got things like Elegy Acolyte, which hopefully I can get that to trigger a bunch. I also have a newer card. It's just a simple one, but it's called Hymn of the Faller, and it's kind of like a surveil and then draw and then lose life. But if I had voided, I guess, then I get to draw an additional card. So it's honestly a pretty cool card. It all goes well with this kind of theme, which is mostly just mono black, making creatures, sacrificing creatures, very aristocratic in that sense. But it is also a typical black deck where I'm kind of toying with my own life as well as draining the entire table. So yeah, I'll just kind of jump right into it, and we'll see how it goes. Here we go. Go to turn 1 and draw. I'll play a swamp and I will pass. Go on turn 2. Another swamp. Tap 2 for a Vengeful Blood Witch. Whenever this creature or another creature I control dies, target opponent loses 1 life, and I gain 1 life. Going to 3, I will untap, I will draw. Let's go with this swamp right here. And I will tap 3, that's 3 black for Ayara, first of Locthwain. Now this is one of the decks that I will be keeping track of my life. So she enters, I gain a life. Let's go to turn 4. Untap, and I will draw. Okay, go with Swamp as my land for turn. And let's see. It's something where I kind of want to, well, I definitely want to draw. And okay, I think that I'm going to do this one because I get to draw a little bit more. Sure. 1 and a black for Sinkhole Surveyor. This is a 1/3 flyer. Whenever it attacks, I lose 1 life, and this creature endures 1, which is either putting a 1 counter on it or making a 1/1 spirit. And that spirit is white. So not only does it not trigger Ayara, I can't sacrifice it with to Ayara. So when Sinkhole Surveyor enters, I will gain 1 life. Then I will... it is sorcery speed, so yes. I'll tap this, sacrifice this, and draw a card. I will gain another life. Someone will lose a life because of the Vengeful Blood Witch. And then I will tap black and 1 for Hymn of the Faller. So, Surveil 1, then I draw a card and lose 1 life. Void, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or a spell was warped this turn, draw another card. So, that's Surveil. And I can keep that at the top. Draw a card, lose a life, and since that card left, I draw an additional card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. That's great. Let's go to turn 5. Untap. Upkeep, draw. Okay, yeah. Land for turn, and then black and 1 for one that might be another familiar one. Actually, I don't know if I want to do that yet. Let me first go black and 2. Risky shortcut. Draw 2 cards, and each player loses 2 life. So I'm back down to 40. Drew my 2 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yes, I'll tap this black and 1 for Umbral Collar Zealot. The one that I was saying should be familiar. So this is another one from Edge of Eternities. It's a 2-cost, 3/2 human cleric. I can sacrifice another creature or artifact to surveil 1. Very good card. 7 cards in my hand. I think that I will pass. Going to turn 6. I will untap. I will draw. Play my land for turn as well. And now what would I like to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Definitely. Sure. Black, and 2. And I will cast Rankle, Master of Pranks. When he enters, that is, I gain 1 life. And actually, I don't think that I did the gain 1 life for the Umbral Collar Zealot, so that is me gaining 2 life. I'm back up to 42. Yeah, because that risky shortcut brought me down to 40. There we go. Rankle has an ability. Says whenever he deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Either each player discards a card, each player loses 1 life and draws a card, or each player sacrifices a creature. It's turn 6. I could say that Rankle can get through. I do assume that I have 3 opponents. I can just say that one of them doesn't have flying, but by this late in the game, hopefully they have flying. I don't know. Not every deck is a flying deck, I guess. You know, honestly, Rankle's not even that much of a crucial part to my plan, so let's go like this. 1 black, Undying Evil, and I will cast that targeting Rankle. Target creature gains Undying. When it dies, if it has no 1/1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. So I'll tap Ayara, sacrifice Rankle, and it will come back with a 1/1 counter on it, which is 2 triggers. First off, a creature died, so I'll be gaining a life and someone loses a life. And then Rankle re-enters the battlefield, so each opponent loses 1, and I gain 1. And then it enters with that 1/1 counter. I get to draw a card because of all of this. And I don't have enough to do everything I want. That's fine. Could have said that I did that all before combat, and Rankle has haste, so I can swing with a 4/4 flying haste. I'll just say here that he deals combat damage. I'll have each player lose 1 life and draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. Let's go to this final turn. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. Alright. Land for turn. And before I show off what I can do, before I actually make my decision, how about that? I will show off what I can do. So right now my hand is this one, which is something like Tarian's Journal. It has an ability similar to Ayara's, except it is sorcery speed, where you can sacrifice another creature and draw a card, something like that. And then this other ability is like I want to say tap 2, tap it, discard your hand, and then transform it. And then the backside has a ways to reanimate things. I mostly just use it for the tap ability, where I can draw a card by sacrificing something, but only at sorcery speed. Anyways, going on to the bigger, better things. Gix's Command. Now this one I could... Let's see, I have the Sinkhole Surveyor in my graveyard as the only creature from my graveyard to get back. Unless I wanted to sacrifice something and then cast this. I could put 2/1 counters on a creature, and then it has lifelink until the end of turn. Destroy each creature with power 2 or less, which would kind of mess me up. Each opponent sacrifices the creature with greatest or the highest power among creatures they control, which is cool. So this one just has a lot of versatility. I'm not sure if that's what I would do. A Torgar Famine Incarnate. It's an 8 cost. Right now I only have 7, which I guess technically I'd only have to sacrifice one thing to do this thing. As an additional cost to cast this, I may sacrifice any number of creatures, and this spell costs 2 less for each creature sacrificed this way. And when he enters, up to one target player's life total becomes half of their starting life total rounded down. So this one's interesting for reanimating purposes and just in general. If someone is life gained, which I've gone against life gain decks using this deck, it just cuts them down to size where it's like, okay, you're at almost 100, now you're at 20, and then I can start actually chipping you down with Ayara strategy. Exsanguinate, X black, which means that right now I could just have X as 5, so each opponent loses 5 life and I gain life equal to life lost this way, so that would be 15 life. I did draw into a Doomsday Excruciator last turn. This is a 6 cost 6/6 flying, and I do have that 6 devotion to just hard cast it. And it says, when it enters, if it was cast, each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down, and at the beginning of my upkeep, I draw a card. So this really is a card where it's like, okay, I cast this since this is cast, or when it enters, since it was cast, it's late game now. It just is. And I got a Meathook Massacre, which, thinking about it, this one might be the one that I would do. Probably where X is 0, because that's just kind of what I would want in this situation. So when it enters, each player sacrifices 0 creatures. Whenever a creature I control dies, I may pay 3 life. If I do, I return it under my control with a finality counter on it. And whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, they may pay 3 life. If they don't, it comes under my control with a finality counter on it. So with this one, I would... It would probably be something like have it enter and then sacrifice one of my creatures and then have it re-enter and whatever. I do have my swamp as well, but I've played a land for turn. Yeah, that's just kind of my options right now. And truth be told, nothing in particular is sticking out as like a great choice. Yeah. You know what? I think I'm just gonna move on to the next game. I showed you guys what I could do. And I typically do this to 6 or 7 turns, so that one will just be one that's 6. There we go. 6, but I got to see that 7th draw, something like that. Alright, let's go one more time and see how it goes. I have been working on, for a while now, a deck of each monocolor. So this is, of course, my mono black deck. I don't think that I've made a video yet, but soon enough I'll be making one for Tanook. Very strong. I just made it dragons. Let's see, have mono white, has both Myril, Shield of Argive, and I'm pretty sure that I have another one. Light Paws. But I would more consider Light Paws made made for the meme, almost. Made because it was almost too easy. There we go. Starting back at 40. Let's see the other ones. I got mono blue Sionian Elegith as scrying and drawing and flying and sphinxes. Yeah, scrying, flying, drawing. Mono green Lumra. And see, that was white, blue, black, red, green. Yeah, and soon enough I'm thinking I might make a colorless deck. I might make that Urza's Liberator, Thopter, or whatever. That gives colorless spells Flash, something like that. That one would be fun. Okay, I'm gonna run with it. Yeah, let's run with it. Turn 1, and I'll draw. Land for turn, and turn 2. Draw. Perfect. That's almost too perfect. It's gonna be. Let's go black and 1 for Sinkhole Surveyor. 1/3 flying. I got him out last game. Going to turn 4. Untap, upkeep, draw. Let's go land for turn. Tapping 3. And Ayara, first of Locthwain. When she enters, I gain a life. Each opponent loses 1. I'll swing with this Sinkhole Surveyor, and I will choose to put a 1/1 counter on it. Swinging as a 2/4. Going to turn 4. Untap. Upkeep, nothing. Draw. Let's go ahead and hope and pray for a land. Black, black, and I will cast Bloodghast. This is a 2/1 that can't block. It has haste as long as an opponent has 10 or less life. And landfall, I can return it from my graveyard to the battlefield. When it enters, each opponent loses 1 and I gain 1. I'll tap Ayara to sacrifice it and draw a card. And wouldn't you know it, I drew into that land, which brings it right back. And I gain a life. Each opponent loses life again. Alright. Let's go ahead and go to turn 5. Untap. Draw. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting, actually. Alright, so I'm going to show off options again. But this time it's only turn 5, so I think talking it out will make my decision. So, I got a Culling of the Weak, which is 1 black, sacrifice a creature, and add 4 black. So I could sacrifice Bloodghast for 1 black and get 4 black, which would mean out of my 4 land, I have 7 to work with, potentially. I have a Midnight Reaper, which is awesome. It's whenever a non-token creature I control dies, Midnight Reaper deals 1 damage to me, and I draw a card. So if I was trying to get the land drop for this turn, that would be probably tap 3 from Midnight Reaper, and then tap 1, sacrifice the Bloodghast, which would have me draw a card. Or, if I did Midnight Reaper and then sacrificed it to Ayara, that would be drawing 2 cards. I would just need to hopefully draw into a land to get it back. If I drew into a land, I mean, it's turn 5, so I could play another land, which would get Bloodghast back, making Culling of the Weak a possibility. I got Warren Soul Trader, beautiful one, and signed by the nitpicking nerds themselves, Beezy and Mia Largo. This one is a great one. It's a 3-cost, 3/3. I can pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, and create a treasure. And so that does have infinite combos in the deck, specifically with Ayara. Zombify, solid. Rankle came back to me. Butcher of Malakir, which is honestly disgusting. It would really be something where I could sacrifice Bloodghast to get out Butcher of Malakir using the Culling of the Weak, or Culling Ritual, whatever it's called. And then it would be from that point on, whenever he or another creature I control dies, each opponent sacks a creature. That's awesome. That's power. And Doomsday Excruciator came back to me. I think that I would like to tap black and 2, get this Midnight Reaper out, and then, as I was saying, tap Ayara, sacrifice this Bloodghast to lose a life and draw a card from the Midnight Reaper. I also gain a life, and each opponent loses 1 life for the Midnight Reaper, so that evens out. And then draw a card for Ayara. Sadly, that was not a land. So, 6, 7, 8. I mean, Sinkhole Surveyor is also not a bad idea for for a sacrifice target. Sure. 1 black. Actually, not yet. Combat. Swinging. And I'll actually go ahead and make me a spirit. Because I don't believe at this culling week, or whatever it's called, I don't think that it has to be a black creature. And so, after combat, I will tap a black. Use this to sacrifice this spirit and get 4 black, which the cards that I drew into is Charcoal Diamond, which enters tapped, so I wouldn't be able to use it. Also, Funeral Room. Whenever a creature I control dies, each opponent loses 1 and I gain 1. Warren Soul Trader's not looking too bad. I probably wouldn't want to zombify because I'm going to get a land. Rankle. I've already attacked. And I can't get the others. Okay. I'll go ahead and get Rankle. Make that a better flying blocker. When he enters, I gain a life. Each opponent loses 1. Cool. Let's go to turn 6. And yeah, I would have drawn another card if I had sacrificed the Sinkhole Surveyor, but I sacrificed the token. Untap, and I will draw. Okay. Not what I want. Unless I want it to sacrifice. I mean, sure. Black, and 1 for a Vampire Nighthawk. When it enters, I gain 1. Each opponent loses 1. I will tap Ayara, sacrifice it, and I will be losing a life and drawing 2 cards. Land for turn, which means Bloodghast comes back, which means I gain another life. Each opponent loses 1. And that means I have 2 land, or I can tap both of them and get out a Charcoal Diamond. Enters tapped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand, and that second card, or both of those cards that I just drew, were lands, so I'll have my land for next turn as well. Said I have 6 in hand. I might as well go to combat. Swing with both of these. Counter on you. Counter on you, so that you're a 3/5, and Rankle is a 3/3. I'll just say that deals combat damage. Each opponent loses 1, or each player loses 1, and draws a card. Very nice. Final turn. Let's go untap. And I will draw. That is a swamp. For land for... Actually, no. I do not want to do that yet. Because I can do... Tap Ayara, sacrifice Bloodghast to lose a life and draw 2 cards. And then play land. Bloodghast is back, gain a life, and each opponent loses 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'd rather multicast. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Warren Soul Trader. I gain a life, each opponent loses 1. Then I'll tap for another 3 and cast this Funeral Room, and I will put a 5 over the Awakening Hall as a X, so it is closed. Whenever a creature I control dies, each opponent loses 1 and I gain 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards now. Interesting. So I definitely don't have any kind of combo, but I could sacrifice Bloodghast to make pay a life, make a treasure, pay another life, or more, have him deal me 1 damage, and then I draw a card. So get a treasure and a draw just for a Bloodghast. But it would pretty much end there, right? Unless I'll sacrifice him and pay 2 life. If I can draw into that one card. Okay, here's a treasure. And yes, paid 2 life. Draw a card. Okay, that's a land. But I can go 1 and 2 for Leadenmer. Leadenmer is a 1/1 artifact creature, so it being colorless, it does not trigger Ayara, and it can tap for a black. That's also something that I forgot, is the funeral room would have me gain a life for when that Bloodghast died. So I would only lose 1 rather than 2. Overall. Cool. I don't believe that I've attacked. Which it could be with Rankle, even though it's turn 7. I would not expect it to get through. I have a full hand. That's got a Lively Dirge, which is something that I would probably be able to do next turn and go infinite, because that would be 2 for the initial cost and then 1 extra to spree and search for. I can't think of the card's name, but I can think of what it looks like. Anyways, it's 1 black. I can cast it from my graveyard as long as I control a zombie. And just in general, it's something like Warren Soul Trader would sacrifice it. I'd pay 1 life and make a treasure, but then I could use the treasure to cast it from my graveyard, and when it enters, Ayara deals 1 damage to each opponent and I gain a life. So it could go infinite, but right now... Right now, before I get too far, because you know, speaking out loud definitely has me think through things. Okay. It'd be something like this. Sacrificing 1 creature, paying a life, paying 2 life, I guess, drawing a card, making a treasure, and again, sack it. That's actually 1 life, so that's gain 1 life, and then that's lose 1 life, because I'm having a creature die, so each opponent loses 1 and I gain 1, but it's pay 1 life and he deals me 1 damage. So far that is a 2nd treasure, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and should be a 2nd card drawn. And let's go Rankle as well for gaining 1 life, losing 2 life, drawing a card, making a treasure, and Midnight Reaper as well. Okay. And then I will use these 4 treasures. Did I need 4 treasures? I did need 4 treasures. I'll use 3 of them to cast Lively Dirge and then spree it once. Search for a card, put it into my graveyard, then shuffle. There we go. So now I won't have to worry about what its name is or whatever. Gravecrawler. I knew it started with a G. Okay, Gravecrawler. 2/1 zombie. Can't block. I may cast it from my graveyard as long as I control a zombie. And Warren Soul Trader is a zombie goblin wizard. Which means now me being at 40 life, which is perfect to demonstrate the loop, would be Gravecrawler is in my graveyard. I use 1 treasure to get a black, cast Gravecrawler, which Ayara sees, and I gain 1 life. And this funeral room actually is even perfect because I can now sacrifice Gravecrawler, pay 1 life, but then I gain 1 life, and each opponent loses 1 to make a treasure, and then it goes to my graveyard, but then I'll just sacrifice it again and do this loop, where I can do that, and it's effectively having me gain a life every time that I do this, and each opponent loses 2 life. So I gain 1, each opponent loses 2. Yeah. Now I don't have to think about the rest. But I'll show you anyways. I drew into a Feed the Swarm, Risky Shortcut, Zombify, which I could have done to get back any of these cards that I discarded, or if I wanted to, I could discard a big card this turn and just Zombify next turn. Butcher of Malakir. Mikaeus the Unhallowed is amazing, especially for Warren Soul Trader. Well, just in general. Sacrifice outlets, because I can sacrifice my non-human creatures twice, and I can't think of many humans in here. Doomsday Excruciator you saw earlier, Fella Profane as a MDFC, so it could be a land, and then land. Yeah. Perfect. Well, as far as it goes, I'm kind of glad that I talked through these things, because I realized, hey, I can just be a little bit greedy, sacrifice my creatures, and then get an infinite combo, so I did. Anyways, I'm going to call it with that. Hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely enjoy playing for you. Yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Later.